the best place to have sex is a bed or a couch. Like I understand people want to have sex in crazy places. It sucks anywhere else. If you try to have sex like a bathroom or if you try to have sex like the beach, bro, you ever try to have sex in the beach? Sand gets fucking everywhere. It goes in your ass and shit.
It's not fun. It's not. It's more so the adrenaline rush than it is anything else.
Crazy adrenaline rush. I'm fucking. I don't know what other people are doing. I don't need to be like, oh, I'm gonna get caught. I'm having sex. That's the adrenaline rush for me. What are you talking about?
I'm having sex. I'm good.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone, to Need I Say More, episode 25. I am one of your hosts, Giuseppe, joined by my co-host, Terrence.
Yes, sir.
Here he is. Terrence, we're feeling good right now, I feel like. We're vibing, some good conversation before the show started.
Yeah, the pre-show conversation. I don't know.
Pre-show?
If Joe decides to release it, the pre-show conversation was actually pretty good.
There's usually a bit I put in the beginning, but it's never like, we'll talk for like 20 minutes and I'll put like a 10-second clip, so I'm not going to get all of it. But how you feeling, man? Outside of that, where would you say in life you are right now? How you feeling?
You know what? First of all, thank you for asking, sir.
Of course.
That was a great question. No, sometimes you gotta acknowledge when people actually really good questions.
I actually really appreciate when people do that. So yes,
it's
nice to be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was a good question. So no, it's as far as like how I'm feeling good, man. Like I made a point that this year 2021 was going to be a rebuild year and a more of a year of me structuring things and putting things in place, and I feel like those things are happening. And I feel really good,
That's really good, man.
No, it feels really good right now to be here. So
awesome, man.
Yeah, we're just looking for things to get better. 2021 ended with a bang.
I mean, it can't be worse than 2020, right?
Yeah, no, can't.
But what's crazy, man? We're halfway through the year, bro. We're officially crossed the halfway through. Yeah. Well, I mean, 6 months in is July 1st, like the 6-month mark. But isn't that crazy? We're halfway through the year already. Like, fuck. This year's blown right by.
It feels crazy because I feel like I don't remember like the first 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, me too. Like I was in school, I was doing that, but I don't remember like it just kind of.
You started in what month did you start class?
Well, I started officially in August, like for fall, but then spring semester started in like the end of January, so the last like 4 months.
Oh, I feel like I started in March.
Was that late? I thought it was earlier than that. Maybe.
Was it earlier?
It wasn't like in the middle of my semester, so maybe it was March. Yeah.
It might have been March.
Time is hard to focus. It just comes all over the place.
God. I remember what happened last week.
Terrence, you know what I was thinking about, by the way? And this is a controversial opinion. Toast is underrated, Terrence. When was the last time you had toast?
Why do you always go into the bread thing? You did the bread. You ate a sandwich backwards a couple months ago.
A long time ago.
What's wrong with you and bread?
No, I was eating it upside down, not backwards. I eat a burger upside down.
Let's go through your issues with bread really quick.
No.
You ate a sandwich backwards.
I don't know. No, you asked me would I eat a sandwich backwards. I said no. That's a good point.
Wrong.
I eat burgers upside down. The bagel thing. I eat bagels. I found that bagels are really good when they're like half stale.
And now, what did you think with toast? Now,
I said toast is underrated.
Keep a list of your issues with bread.
It's not. These aren't issues. These are all positives. What I was saying is I think toast is underrated. Like, when was the last time you had toast? You were just like, I'm gonna make myself some toast.
Just regular toast.
Yeah, toast some butter or something on it.
I normally have toast when I do toast. When I do some scrambled eggs. Turkey, bacon, and toast.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know.
But I haven't had that. Yeah, like when you ask, like how long? Normally at a restaurant, if I go out to eat.
And dude, when I go to like a breakfast place, I always am like, I really hope I get toast with this. Like I don't. That's when I realized. Like the other day, I normally have like croissants or whatever, breakfast bagels, but I didn't have anything, and I had some like frozen waffles, and I was like, and I was like, let me make some toast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 2 pieces of bread, toasted, a little bit of butter on it, and I was like, fuck, this is good. So simple, so fucking good though, like
poor man delicacy.
Is it what it is? Also, you ever think about how badass toast really is? Because basically what happened was someone made some dough and they baked it, right? And the bread came out, and then someone ate a piece and was like, this is pretty good, but cook it again. And they put it back in, and then it came out more toasted.
The person that made it originally must
think about it, yeah.
Super disrespectful.
He must have been like, I'm a badass. Toast is cool, but I like twice cooked dough.
No, the person that it made it the first time that it's cooked and said it's done, you know.
Oh, he was like, I liked it that way, and he's like, well, you gotta cook it longer.
That's like when you make a dinner for someone and they say, "Can I get some hot sauce?"
A little salt on this.
Like, oh, you playing me right now? Like you disrespecting my cooking right now.
Yeah. You can think. You know what's crazy? I remember growing up. I had two cousins who were like.
By the way, folks, Joe's a good cook. I had some of his cooking before.
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah. I cook a lot more now that I'm vegan because I don't know why. I just do it. I don't know why. Like
that time we had like everybody over when I was when me and
back in the day.
Yeah. You know, Joe was just in his old, complete Italian mode. Was just like, I'll get in the kitchen to make something to eat.
Yeah, because it wasn't even my apartment. It was a friend of ours.
He just literally
and no one wanted to cook, and I was like, I can try.
Like a normal Italian was just like, this is normal for me. I'll jump on the stove really quick and make some. What do you got? Pasta? Right, and he hated the pasta. He was like, you can't do this. Like,
did I do that?
I think we tried to break the pasta and he was super insulted.
Oh yeah, I don't like. If I'm gonna make spaghetti, I'm not gonna break it in half. Then it's not even spaghetti anymore.
Slap his mother with that one. He was like, don't break the pasta.
Specifics about Italians. No, you know what I have a recipe for that I'm kind of pissed I can't make it though. I'm missing one ingredient. Is these like basically, how do I describe it? It's like a ribs with like street corn on top of the rib, the boneless rib, obviously, in like a sandwich with like sriracha mayo on top of it.
Oh, that sounds good.
Right? But here's the thing. They closed I think I told you last summer, they closed the Fairway next to me.
Apologies to anybody that's listening to this and hungry.
Yeah. Just pause the podcast, go eat something, come back. But the Fairway closed that was right next to me, and all the places around here are like, I'm in the Heights. It's not like they're the most forward-thinking stores in the world, so they don't have anything vegan almost. So I order from Whole Foods during the summer because it's too hot to walk to the store, and I got they don't have the mayo, so I can't. There's no vegan mayo in the area, so I'm like, well, I gotta wait until fucking when I go food shopping this week.
Side note, did you see that movie In the Heights?
No, I heard it's very good. Isn't it on HBO?
It's on HBO Max. I think it's about to leave. Actually, Corey watched it. She told me it was pretty good.
I actually did really want to watch it, so maybe I'll put that on at some point, like this next couple of days.
Yeah, I can't. I have to be in the mood to watch a musical movie.
Yeah.
I really have to be in a.
I'm with you.
Let me check this out because I still want to see Cats. I want to see.
I heard Cats is not good at all, so you probably skip that one. I got terrible reviews.
That's the issue. Musical movies are hit or miss, and it's like I don't
hit or miss. You say?
Yeah, I don't want to go through that.
Listen, from what I heard, Cats was shit. It was like a massive bomb. I don't know about In the Heights. I haven't actually looked it up, but that's why La La Land I really wanted to watch, and it was on HBO Max for a while, and it was finally getting ready to leave HBO Max, and I was like, let me just watch this, and I fucking loved it. It was great.
You checked out? It was good?
Yeah, it's great, man.
I gotta check that out, man.
It's really good. But anyway, Terrence, before we get too deep down this rabbit hole, let's do our Black Excellence shout out of the week.
Absolutely. Black excellence does not stop, never stop.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm
yeah.
I love that.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. So our Black excellence, can't stop, never stop, goes out to Florence Joyner, Flojo.
Florence Joyner. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do I know who this is?
Flojo?
Yeah.
Well, Flojo. I mean, she's just known as one of the fastest women of all time.
Oh wow! I know this one.
And they're making
a
biopic of her, and what's her freaking name? Tiffany Haddish is rumored to be playing Florence Joyner. And I bring
she's been trying to get into more dramatic stuff. It looks like.
Yeah, I want to see it. I'm because I don't find her super funny. Like it's just my opinion. I don't.
You don't find
Tiffany Haddish.
You don't find her funny?
Yeah, not really.
Oh, wow.
No. But no. Miss Florence Joyner have 3 gold medals, 2 silver medals. I'm sorry, 4 gold medals. and 3 silver medals all through the Olympics games. And she was recently brought up due to the controversy surrounding Sha'Carri Richardson.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on the backcourt if you want to hear our
absolutely our sports take more so on the backcourt. But yeah, great woman. I can honestly say I don't know much about FloJo. I have heard her name, obviously, throughout my upbringing and things like that.
Right. Yeah, she unfortunately passed right when we were kids, 1998.
Right, exactly. So I've heard about her. If I am not mistaken, she also went through an issue of performance enhancing drugs. Obviously, it was not marijuana, which
would have banned her, of course.
Right, which is what Sha'Carri Richardson was found guilty of, having marijuana. But there was suspicion. There was never any proof per se about it. It just was more speculation about her.
She's just so fucking
because she was just right, exactly. And the thing about it, which was just kind of crazy, is like, when you grade, it's impossible for people to believe that that's true. But when you're mediocre or when you're failing, people don't doubt it.
Right.
Like it's crazy, which is why. Like,
also, just unfortunate because so many people do cheat that we have to deal with this. Right, it used to be like, oh, you just assume people are great at what they do. And now it's look
how much hate and criticism LeBron James gets, as like him just being like a great player.
Right.
It's just when you're great at something, people have to try to find something to be like, no, this is not possible. You can't possibly. And sad to say, it mostly does happen when you're black and you're great at something,
You think so?
I think so. I think a lot of times, it's still looked at when you're, of another race, especially if you're a Caucasian. But if
Caucasian,
white, I hate that actually.
It doesn't mean white.
I hate
and every other country thinks we're so dumb because we use it that way. It's not what it means.
Caucasian is stupid. It is a stupid.
Took the word and changed it for our purposes apparently.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be politically correct. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
You're black, I'm white. You're Jamaican, I'm Italian. I don't care.
Yeah. Like let's not be politically correct on the show. But
not. It's just it's more. It's like we talked about, like African American and Caucasian. Like they're not really what they mean. Like Caucasian doesn't mean anything about skin color, and African American implies you're from Africa, which you're not. So we reject those terms. Not even politically correct. It's just we reject those terms.
Right. We're not going to be kind of boxed into what everybody else is just making make sense, and it doesn't.
Yeah, we do what we want.
Right.
It's our show.
But yeah, I think when you're white, it's still looked at, but it's not looked at as critical as when you're black. And again, my opinion, nobody has to agree.
I mean, I honestly, I have no like data either way. So maybe it's true. I don't actually know. I mean, I could, depends on who's like calling it, but I could believe that for certain types of people who, maybe they just don't want to believe it, that like someone who's black could be better. I don't know. Just maybe some racism there. Or maybe it's just, I don't know. Yeah. But shout out to FloJo, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very accomplished.
And one of the most dopest nicknames
FloJo is pretty great, isn't it?
FloJo, just to have like a dope nickname like that.
What's crazy is like that's not hard. That was her married name, Joyner. So Joyner? She married someone else. Never would have had that awesome nickname.
You gotta get that man some royalties.
Yeah, you gotta be like, hey man, you really came through. Because otherwise, her last name was just Griffith. For that. Well, you can't do Flo. There's nothing there. It's just Florence Griffith.
Let me ask you something, Joe. Yeah. Would you be mad if your wife-to-be said she didn't want to have your last name?
Yeah, that's a good question, Terrence. I don't know. Part of me thinks probably not. I kind of would want it to be that way because it's like, I guess that's just the way it normally is. But at the same time, I don't know. What does it matter? Yeah. She's still my wife. Yeah. I'm still her husband, like that doesn't really go away. So
I think in my opinion, I think that's her choice. I don't really see the big deal about it.
So if you, when you and Corey get married, if it's up to her, like you don't really care.
Yeah.
I mean, would you rather her if she asked you? Would you say, yeah, I prefer it? But
I would, if she asked me, I would say I'd rather that, of course.
Right.
But also, if she, because you got to think about it, right? we carry, whether it is our mother or our father last name or whatever, we're basically carrying that down the line, so if she was like, hey, no, I kind of want to keep it, I'd be like, okay, would you want to hyphenate it maybe?
Have you guys talked about like what you might do, what she might do, I guess?
We've talked about it. I won't give her response on air.
Okay.
I'll let her do that. But we have talked about it. And
because it is antiquated, is it not? I mean, why does the woman take the man's name? What is that? Like,
exactly.
That comes from how it used to be. Like the man used to basically take all of the property and used to be in charge of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, I think
it is a very old school rules.
Question everything, Terrence.
Right? Yeah.
But I think if you want to do that, it's totally fine. But at the same time, if you don't want to do it, I think it's also fine. I don't begrudge anyone who just, if you like, I like it's traditional, I like to do that. Okay, well then, cool, do it. But if you don't, if you like, well, it's kind of antiquated, and I like my last name, why not?
Yeah.
Any of my previous exes I've talked to, I think they were all on board with taking. Also, it depends on the last name, right? Like I like my last name, Kalari. Kalari is
Kalari's simple.
It's a good name. It's simple. People like to say calorie because they don't know how to read, but
yeah.
Other than that, it's a quality name. That's the thing. If my last name was like, Bufachismo or something, it might be like, well, I'm just gonna keep my name.
I would understand.
I'm just gonna keep my like Gether. I would say
I'd probably be like,
I would say
I'm taking your last name.
I would say like your like Gether's is a quality name too. It's not like it's crazy or anything out there.
So I love my last name because of how many ways I've played with it throughout the years of growing up. I've played with it.
Hers, get
hers.
Get
when I was
hers,
singles,
it is. There it is.
Now that I'm in a relationship, it is now togethers. If we get married,
togethers. I have never thought about that.
There you go. There you get it.
Oh, Terrence, that's unbelievable. Did she come up with that?
I came up with it actually.
I thought Corey would.
And the great thing about it is no one can steal it because it's literally just my last name.
It's just your last name, yeah. You came up with
my last name.
Togethers. That's great, man. That's really
good.
It's
dope, right? Super dope. Also,
I know this guy whose last name is Powers, and it's like if he's in a relationship, he's a Powers couple.
Oh damn! See, that's a good one too. When you have a good last name, it's easier to kind of go along with.
Yeah, I think that is. I mean, listen, if you're a woman and you're debating it, there's nothing wrong with being like, do I want that last name? Like, you have to now have that last name for the rest of your life. Do you want that? If they have a goofy name, it's like there's nothing wrong with being like, I'm just gonna keep my.
You know what it is? What's crazy is one time me and Corey went on vacation and we stayed at a hotel, and she had called like the front desk, and when she spoke on the phone or whatever, the lady spoke to her. They thought we were married, so she gets off the phone. And
she called her Mrs. Gethers.
They called her Mrs. Gethers, and she was kind of like a little thrown off. But then
that's a weird thing. The first time that happens, like
right?
It's like it throws you like, oh shit.
The first time somebody calls you that, right? So she was a little thrown off.
You play with it. You're like, do I like that? Do I like that?
Yeah, like now I could see it on her face. I could see her face. Like, how did that sound? Like, how did
yeah.
So I saw it on her face, and then later,
do I want to be Mrs. Gether? That's basically how you have to
later on, she told me about it, and then I was like, "Well, what'd you think?" She was like, "It didn't sound bad.
Didn't sound bad,
it But that's something, like I guess that allows her to kind of think about it, And again, I'm fine with either or.
Okay, here's a question: would you take her last name?
I could be 100% and say no.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't know how that makes me sound. Listen, I gotta be real.
I will be honest. Part of that is probably because my entire life there was never a question if I was going to change my last name. That's been my name if I get married. And now, obviously, that we're in a more enlightened period of time. It's that's a possibility. I like to add it, but like I'm not giving up my last name. I'm sorry.
If she would ask me, I'd be open to the conversation. If and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, and also together it's too good.
If
only your middle name was with an O, then it really would be like togethers. That'd be fucking A.
I mean, it is A, so it's still tag.
Togethers, it's not bad. Tag is good.
My middle name starts with an A, so it's
tag togethers. Man, it sounds. Maybe I've never thought about my names enough because you come up with some good shit.
We're tagged together.
I'm loving this, man. We gotta, man, this is great. This is good stuff.
We should create a business. We're just gonna play with people's last names. Like, this should be your wedding theme.
Tag is also us, Terrence and Giuseppe.
Joe, look at you.
That's just us.
Joe's always like a freaking sweetheart out of nowhere. Look at him.
That's what I'm saying. So that's the thing. If we ever made a business and you called it that,
Joe just wants to be down with us.
We could call it. We call it tag. I'm like, oh, it's Terrence and Giuseppe. But when you're by yourself, you're like, that's actually my initials. You just tell everyone else, you're like, it's not really because Giuseppe. It's just my initials.
You know, we could have actually made a show and just named it Tag,
or call it Puzzles, and that's the puzzle. Why is it called Puzzles? No. So that's from How I Met Your Mother. All right, Terrence. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about our first topic. I think we touched on this maybe last week. Basically, the question is, if someone does something wrong and wants to make amends, or if they go to prison, if they go to jail for committing a crime, and they
rehabilitation,
right? They pay their debt to society, is what they're supposed to have done. Do you forgive people? You know, like obviously, I guess it probably is a case by case basis, but like, do you look at prison as helping somebody, or if someone does something and they apologize or they try to make amends, how often are you like, yeah, I would take that? Whereas you're like, no, you made the mistake and now you're just full of shit.
Well, not every sorry is real.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You know, not every sorry is real. Not everybody that comes home is doing better. Some people go in there and get worse.
Right.
So it's more so about just kind of how do you put it? It's more so about reading the person, but also giving them an opportunity to show who they are.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like you don't want to judge. And here's why I hate it. I hate it because judging people based upon past experiences with them doesn't make sense, because everyone grows literally every day. Literally today, you can learn something new.
I learned all about your name, you know. Now I think highly of you. I agree, and I think it also really does. It really is case by case basis. It just depends on what the thing that was done. Like a good example, I think, is Michael Vick, right? So, obviously, recap for him. Michael Vick was this fantastic quarterback. Who did he originally play for? Was it the Eagles? The Eagles was when he came back. Falcons. Fantastic quarterback. He just was taking the league by storm. Everyone loved him. And then it gets found out he has like this crazy dog fighting ring where they, you know, he's forcing dogs to fight to the death. And, you know, the dogs who lose, if not, they just drown them. And it was like this horrifying, like, why a multimillionaire star quarterback in the NFL does this? Who the hell knows? Right. After that happened, he got cut from the team. He got put in jail, prison, lost all his endorsements. He had to file for bankruptcy. Like he went from all the way on top to the bottom. Like he was in actual prison, and he served a couple of years. I don't remember the specifics. I could just look it up, but yeah, like he served his time, and he lost all of his money, and he was screwed. But then a couple years later, when he got out, he signed with the Eagles, and then after a year or two, he ended up being really good again and getting back into like playing really well, and everyone was really like happy for him and everything. But the question was like, does he deserve that? You know, like obviously not everyone that's out of prison can throw a fucking football, 70 yards, but it's a good question. Like, does he deserve the forgiveness?
It's definitely case by case.
Right.
It's definitely,
what he did was horrible.
Absolutely. But again, it's definitely case by case. And it's like, can you look at this guy and say, yeah, I'm willing to forgive you due to the fact that you pay your debt to society? Or are you able to look at him and say, I know you were wrong. I know you paid your debt. I don't forgive you, but I'm willing to give you an opportunity to change the narrative. I would probably rather that, because a lot of times I've done some things in my past that are wrong, and I hate when someone holds it against me.
Right.
I hate it because it's like, okay, yeah, I did that, but I also learned from it as well. I made a mistake. I learned from it. Just because someone makes an sense. Here's the thing. Common sense is not common. Everyone thinks that.
God, I wish it was.
Everyone thinks that because you know something and you do something a certain way, then everyone supposedly has that information, or everyone supposedly thinks that way.
Common sense, I think they should. It's like common sense, like everyone should have, but for people just don't for whatever.
Common sense is not common. There's a sign on the train station that says "Don't stand on the yellow part" because it's dangerous. Common sense would tell you, I'm gonna listen to that because you know what? There's a possibility that there's a reason why they put it here.
Right.
I am one of those people that are guilty of standing there.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right.
And if you get hit by a train, it's like, well,
right.
I didn't listen to the rule, I guess.
Exactly. And you know what someone else is going to say? Well, common sense would tell him.
Don't stand the fucking thing.
Common sense is not that common. So I say that because it's like we have to stop holding each other more so to such a high standard of things because we're human. Like we are flawed individuals.
Yeah,
by nature.
Definitely are that.
By nature. But guess what? Because of those flaws is how we created the wheel, is how we discovered electricity, is because of those flaws is how we were able to make such achievements in life. You think the Wright brothers were just like, common sense says, I'm going to stay on the ground.
We can't fly.
Going in the air, because common sense does say going in the air is not a good idea. Guess what? They made a plane.
Yeah, that's a good point. So what would it say? What I mean, how do I phrase this? For Michael Vick, I guess. Do you kind of like look at him and go, you know what, man, he did pay his debt to society. He went to prison. He lost everything, and then he clawed his way back. And again, he's obviously not like a normal person. He's fucking football player. But do you look at that and go, yeah, no, it's totally fine, or do you go, no, he really shouldn't have been able to do all that? Like,
no, I look at it and like you got a guy that went back to zero.
Yeah.
Like
a lot of people, I've met people and heard people talk who were like, I've gone to prison for less crimes than that, for weed or for X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And then when I came out, I didn't have that opportunity, right? I couldn't throw a football 60 yards. I didn't have that opportunity. So and most places won't hire those type of people, right? It's not like the NFL where like it's different. Like they won't, most places don't hire ex-cons or whatever. And they're not wrong in what they're saying. Like it is definitely not, good in their position.
We need to support ex-cons a little bit more though in our society.
Yeah, because like you said, man, you can't always judge. Like if someone murdered someone, it's a little different, right? I mean, it's cold-blooded murder type thing. But someone else like with this dog fighting ring, it's like I like to imagine. I don't know how he started getting involved in this or what happened. Right. I like to imagine it was a really stupid thing that he just was a part of, and he just maybe didn't back out like he should have. He should have just ended it. Maybe, I don't know, like maybe started, I don't know. But he just wasn't maybe thinking. And then after it happened, he's obviously donated a lot of time and money to like helping animals and all that since. And again, you never know. Is it real? Does he really care? Or is he just doing it for
life, that? You're going to make a bunch of decisions that
that's what I'm saying. Did he,
may not be right.
Did he learn from it? Maybe he really did. Maybe he really, like Penny Hardaway, or not Penny Hardaway, Tim Hardaway, not John Jr., just regular Tim Hardaway.
Oh yeah,
his comments. Right. Maybe after he said those horrible comments about gay people, he really came and realized, like, what the hell am I doing? I'm hurting people. I mean, these views are awful. So it is hard. Like you want to believe people can change their spots, right? Like you can, if you start off and you're this horrible person or you do these horrible things, you can change from it. It's hard to know like when you forgive them. Like if someone did something to you, you found out someone stole, like somehow they got your bank account, like you knew them, they got into your account and they stole a bunch of money.
I'd be hurt, man.
Do you think you could forgive them if they went to prison, they came back out and they apologized?
Absolutely.
Would you really be like, no problem, I'm not going to hold that against you?
Absolutely. Me, I'm a forgiving person. That's just how I was brought up, not to hold grudges and things like that.
Son of a preacher or pastor or deacon, whatever it is.
Son of a deacon.
Deacon. Two deacons at this point.
But it's I was brought up that way, so it's honestly super tough for me to hold a grudge. I let so many things roll off of me.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you're good that way.
Yeah, like
it's probably why me and you've never gotten into a fight, because anytime I am being dumb, you're just
absolutely, man. Like ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, so what is it? Ladies, gentlemen, they,
just
them,
people, everybody,
everyone. there are so many times people have come to me and complained about Joe or said certain things about Joe.
Jesus.
And no, I'm being serious. And
no, I know.
And so many times, you know, I've always been like, well, that's my boy. You know, because
appreciate that, man.
At the end of the day, I know who Joe is. Yeah, he can be annoying. Yeah, he can be a jerk, a dick sometimes, or whatever to people. But you have to have an acquired taste to deal with certain people. Someone like me, I don't get offended easy. I just don't. You know, doesn't matter what's said. Also, I can talk to Joe, and even if he ever said something to me that I may not have liked, I'm able to have a conversation with him and be like, yo, no, you can't say that. Or
it
doesn't. Yeah, it's not right. You know, whatever it may be, and that's what a lot of people don't give. You know, and I know I'm harping on you right now, but a lot of people don't give you the opportunity to just have a conversation and just be like, you know, there's so many issues that can be solved by just simply having a conversation and telling somebody, hey, I didn't like that.
You know, you bring up a good point though, like what you saying, like you were saying earlier though, you were saying like it's people, you don't hold grudges, but most people, like, they don't really know the person. They just assume, like, they know a little bit about them and then they assume this is what they are. Like, a lot of people heard, like, especially when we used to work Toys R Us together, they heard things about me, you know, and this happened other places too. Like, people hear things about me because I rub some people the wrong way, and that's fine. I'm not gonna, like, whatever.
Yeah, but you are who you are, and some people are gonna take it, some people can't. You know,
and honestly, like, but the thing is, like, if you actually get to know me, you understand where this comes from. Like, I'm not just a crazy person. I'm not like an asshole. I'm not gonna like stroke someone's ego and make them feel better, or like just do what they want. Like, I'm not that kind of person. So, but people, you get like a reputation, and people think they know you, and so they treat you one way. But like the reality is, the handful of people that I consider like close friends that do know me, they know who I am. Like you said, like, you know who I am, which is the most important. People who have like this preconceived notion of me or this idea of me, it's whatever. They don't really know me.
I would rather be friends with somebody that stands their ground regardless of what anybody says to them than somebody that's easily offended.
Yeah, me too.
By what's being said about them, or somebody that's willing to change to please others. What I can always say about Joe is that no matter what anybody has ever said about this man, he has stood his ground, and he's always just said, all right, well, fuck you. And this is just me.
Sure. I mean, that's what you gotta do sometimes, right? And it's not, that's, you know, like, there's some people who are like that, and there's some people who aren't. And it's not, I don't know if it's right or wrong. It's just the way it is. So is there anything if someone did to you, you would be like, no, it's not that you would hold a grudge, but you're like, it's kind of unforgivable. I don't need to associate with that person.
Kill somebody I love.
That's obviously pretty important. Yeah, it's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Is that it? Like, that's the one thing, like murder?
Murder, maybe rape, maybe, you know, steal. Even steal, I can kind of.
So let's say you met someone, you started becoming friends, just, I don't know, coworker, you met him wherever, and then after maybe a few months, you're friends, you're cool with them.
Touch my wife.
Well, that's unforgivable for sure. But you find out they were, you know, 6-7 years ago, they were arrested and went into prison for rape. Now, no one you know, but, you know, they still raped somebody. They were convicted guilty. Would that be one of those things where you're like, I don't know if I should associate with that, or is it one of those things where you're like, you know what, maybe you know, you'd like to imagine they've just grown? Or
listen, I'd be uneasy about it,
right?
For sure.
There's
no way I can just look at it and be like, oh, it happened in the past.
Yeah, it's not like a simple mistake, is it? It's like a serious.
I'd definitely be uneasy about it, but I'd be willing to learn the person a little bit more. I'd definitely be able to learn, because what I've learned, and this is definitely from experience. And I wish I can say his name, but he'd probably be pissed the fuck off at me. But there's a sort of mentor of mine. I kind of call him a mentor. And he served time in prison.
Right.
And he came out and has done amazing things. He is in the entertainment industry, and he is doing amazing things. Like some of the most popular artists, you know, and see and love their music, he manages them, you know. But it's more so from, he did something, he went to jail, he served his time, he learned his lesson, came out, and said, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to make a difference. So now in this scenario where, obviously I know of someone's history, their past, that they, committed a crime, not only a crime, they took advantage of someone, they creating, I'm sorry, the act of rape is just like a disgusting thing.
That is pretty unforgivable. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Like,
right. It really is. It really is. It's like, you killing someone is probably more forgivable than you raping someone,
Yeah, I kind of understand. Like, they're both pretty, like, they're obviously very heinous, but yeah, like, rape is just
right.
Such
it's just like, it's demoralizing. So knowing that, right, and then let's say this person works in the office and I notice and everything like that, of course I'm uneasy, but I'm also that person, like, I don't know if this guy has mental issues. I don't know. I don't even know what the situation was or whatever the case may be, because a lot of times, especially in a work environment, you don't know all the details, like everything. I hate it because for some reason, HR is the most untrustworthy place in the work, the work environment, and they're not supposed to be like,
they're supposed to be the most trustworthy.
Everything that goes through HR is supposed to be held confidentially, right?
Yeah.
It always doesn't. Gets out.
No, because you know what it is? I don't know if it's the nature of being in HR or what it is, but it's like those people, because they know all of that, they become like, they're often the most gossipy people.
Oh my God.
I don't know if it's like the nature of it or what it is.
That much.
Just all the secrets. You have all the secrets in the company.
Information, shout outs to all the lawyers that, gotta keep all that stuff, and all the people that sign NDAs and things like that or whatever. I mean, you gotta talk about it with somebody, right?
Right.
Like, it has to, like, imagine, being an HR manager and just knowing that, and I remember when I used to work at Barclays, and I used to talk to one of the HR managers, and they would tell me, that, oh, well, we hired some people that committed crimes. And I was like, what? I was just thrown off. I was like, are any of them working for me? Like, should I know this? Like, is this? And they were just like, no, it's for us to know. And I was like, I was like,
it's hard to, like, especially, let's say you're working like when you were at Barclays, like, you're working around, money and stuff like that. If you found out someone went to, someone who's working for you did go to jail or something for like theft.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. Am I supposed to? But the thing is,
hard,
I don't know if this is in other states, but in New York City, when you have certain records on you, let's say you were a thief, they won't hire you in a position dealing with cash registers.
And and like, I don't know, is that good or bad? I don't know. It makes sense, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Like, it makes sense. Like, if you're stealing money, don't put that person in charge of money.
Right. Yeah. Don't tempt them.
Yeah. Right. And they also know, like, tricks and stuff, obviously, presumably, at least ideas of how to do it. So it's tough, man. I don't really know. I do think it's a case by case basis. It hard.
Definitely is.
I think your what you said was pretty true, though. Like, I think you should always give someone a chance, because it's hard to get past that, for sure. I think when you know something about someone, if they did like something legitimate, not like, oh, they went to jail for smoking weed, which is dumb. But yeah, if someone, like, they went to jail for stealing from somebody or assault or something like that, it's hard to get that out of your head. You just wonder, like, that this person attacked somebody. But it is like, you never know, like, if the crime really was simple as that, or if that's just what the charge was, or, was it some, like, it's hard to get that out of your head. But what you said, I think, is true. Like, you got to give them the opportunity to prove to you maybe they're not that person. That's just one thing that happened in their life, and their life is much more than that one instance.
I mean, look, I think everybody deserves a chance. I'm always for that. That's.
What if someone got arrested, for a crime? Let's say assault, right? Went to jail, came back out, and then you knew them, everything's good, they get arrested for assault again. Now, at that point, do you go, well, I don't know, maybe they don't change? Or do you still think the same thing, like, well,
No, some people are who they are.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think at that point, it's like, I don't know, if it's kind of, if multiple times, if you go to jail for a crime, then you go back to jail for that same crime, it's kind of hard to be like, are you not just the same? Like, is this who you are?
No, when someone shows you who they are, you should believe them.
Right. Yes.
So
actions speak louder than words, right? You have
right.
to be like,
exactly.
Well,
like, you can't, You can't come out and be like, oh yeah, I'm not about that life anymore, and then get caught 2 days later doing the same shit. And it's like, yo, all right. He's like,
yeah, well, it doesn't seem like you've learned anything.
You know, like no. But that doesn't help at all.
All right, Terrence, let's do a quick little palate cleanser. Because I was a little bit serious. I'll give you a little pet peeve of mine. It's a great way to talk about things. You know what? And not even pet peeve, it just makes me laugh. You ever see people who like they'll put the phone in their ear when talking, but then they'll take it away from their ear and speak into it like it's a walkie-talkie, and then they'll put it back to their ear. Like that's how they go back and forth.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Like I don't know if I always wonder, do they think that like because when you hold the cell phone to your ear, like obviously the mouth part isn't necessarily like old school phones. So I don't know, do they think you can't do both at the same time?
Yeah, what was that? Wait, what?
So do you know like back in the day, old phones, like house phones, like the mouth part would go down actually to your mouth. You had to speak into it. Whereas iPhones and stuff, like they're not really next to your mouth. They're just kind of in the vicinity, but they're made to pick up that way.
Yeah.
So my question is, do these people think like you can't just put the phone in your ear and talk? Do they think you need to listen in one end and then talk?
Yeah, the walkie-talkie style.
Is that what they think it is? Why? Because when you do that, if someone's trying to interrupt you, you won't hear because you're not hearing. You're just talking.
Yeah, you kind of just gotta. First of all, I don't understand it. I don't know why people do it. It's kind of like
I don't know. I don't
kind of way of doing.
But it's not old. Like back in the day, like I said, if your house phone was big enough to where it would go. So I think they think you can't do both. I think they think you can't talk and listen at the same time.
Yeah. Maybe.
Why else are they doing it?
Maybe.
Also, Terrence, let's quick talk about this. I had a rant a few weeks ago about fireworks. You remember this?
Yeah, I remember.
Last night, it was 4th of July. Now, I knew that I'm positive this has never happened up until last year. But the same thing that happened last year happened this year, where people are blasting tons of fireworks all night. They literally went from like 1 a.m. until 5:15 in the morning when the sun came up.
Serious, man.
The sun came up and that they finally stopped. So my question, Terrence, is why do people do this? What are they doing it for? I don't understand this.
I couldn't tell you.
Who are the people out there who are spending the money to buy thousands of fireworks and then go out in the middle of the night knowing you're disturbing all hundreds and hundreds of people and just it's whatever, and you're just blasting them up for no one. No one's watching these things. Who are these people, Terrence?
I don't know, but also we got to understand this, folks. When you live in a city area, New York City, like whatever, urban city area, that shit ain't cool.
That's what I'm saying. This isn't a fucking field or something where no one else lives around.
Area is not either, but more so you have the space to do that. It's not
people who are doing it. They're doing it a street over, right? There must be at least 2,000 people who heard exactly what I heard, which is loud. You cannot sleep through and do anything fireworks. So it's just like, well, whatever. I want to do this, so I'm going to do it. And also, what the fuck do cops just like whatever, no big deal. Like this isn't disturbing the peace. This isn't anything. We're just going to let this slide.
I saw them yesterday.
Haven't seen them the last 2 years, Terrence. Last summer, this summer,
they
the same fucking
ignored. They ignored it. I literally.
Why? I don't understand. Like, especially once you hit like midnight, 1 a.m. Aren't you like, okay, it's over. The fireworks have gone off the last few hours. This is now disturbing the peace. People work. Go. It's over. Like cops are itching to arrest people. Why don't they fucking do that? Hey, guys, go away or we're gonna arrest you. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
We got to do something about this. I can't do another year like this. This is like the second year in a row it's happened. I can't do this again. Like I don't know. I'm getting bad thoughts in my head when this happened. Because last night I got like 4 hours of sleep. It's not cool, man.
Yeah. I mean, look, I was up. Like I said, it woke me up out of the middle of my sleep last night.
I tried to go to sleep and just couldn't. I went to bed like 1 and just couldn't go back to sleep. I spent 4 hours rolling back and forth. Yeah.
They was just going at it, and it was like, oh God, like y'all not going to stop.
If you're one of those
people, what it is? It's more so like you gotta, if you paid so much and you got so much.
Why are you paying for it?
You gotta use
your money on anything in the world but that.
Now you just got to get it off. So now you're stuck at 3 a.m. in the morning. Like, Terrence, damn, I still got these fireworks.
Who is wasting money on that? Why? Is it that exciting to send off fireworks? Is it really like something you genuinely get a lot of joy out of?
I do.
But I try to do hours on end. You just blast. That's like super fun to you, just to spend 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. Let me just keep doing this.
I do it during reasonable time, and also
for hours at a time, or for like a few minutes.
No, maybe
I'm done.
I would say probably like 30-40 minutes. I'm done.
That's what I'm saying. This is It's just it's a further idea of what I've always said, which is most people are either stupid or they're selfish, and that is one or the other. Whether they either are too dumb to be aware of how much they're bothering people, or they could give a shit less.
Yeah.
So it's just depressing, man. So before the show, Terrence, we were talking about this this new Netflix show called, was it Sex Life?
Sex Life on Netflix is going crazy right now.
It's making the rounds. Everyone's getting into it apparently.
Yeah.
So the show got, we were talking about it because Corey was watching it and you watched it the first episode. But I was talking about how because the woman in the show has a great life, she has a good husband, everything's happy, but she's not getting her sex isn't good enough, right? So she's thinking about ex, or I think one of her exes, you said, or multiple exes. I don't know.
As far I only see one episode right now, so
it's now a new ex every episode.
Oh, that'd be hilarious! Actually, that actually would be hilarious.
But here's my question, Terrence: do you think there's any of your previous women you've been with who, not that necessarily they're in this exact position, but do you think at any point after you stop seeing them, they think back and they're like, man, Terrence was really fantastic. Whether they're with the guy or not.
I would think so. I would say there are probably a few exes out there that.
So you think, are you thinking of specific ones? You're like, I know she's probably thinking about it, or you just think generally, you think women...
I could say I think there are probably about 3 specific ones.
Okay.
And you know one of them. You brought her name up.
Oh God, I'm sure she thinks about you.
See?
Oh, that girl. Not even necessarily for you. It's almost she was just kind of a mess. I feel like you were probably the best thing that ever happened.
And the thing is, I don't communicate with any of my exes.
It was one. She was on the show. Shout out to Mel.
Oh, you do? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I said there's one, which is she was a guest on the show.
Yeah,
Mel.
me. I don't communicate with any of my exes. But as far as do I and this is not. I wouldn't say this is ego. But I know how I am or how I used to be.
Right.
So I'm good. I know I'm good.
All right. Okay.
So I would imagine that there's some exes that would probably have those fantasy moments about previous. Look, you don't.
Everyone's gonna think about that, right? You're gonna you're gonna think back to an ex and if it was good.
There's
or not,
some
right?
experiences you just don't forget, right?
Terrence
regardless
Gathers
of what.
One of those experiences.
I never said that.
I'm saying that.
But there's certain experiences, let's say someone, had sex on a Ferris wheel or something. I'm pretty sure you're not gonna forget that, right?
Yeah, but I'm not saying maybe a specific moment. I'm just thinking. I guess it could be a specific moment.
But also just plays a part in it too.
So either specific moments or just generally how the sex you had. You remember the sex we had during those however long it was.
Yeah, were just. Also, I was in my 20s.
Now you're ancient, so.
I'm not ancient, but
you talk like you are. It's hilarious.
No, man, but you perform differently in your 20s than you do now. It's just life. It's just life.
Not from 29 to 30. I don't know. It's that different. I guess you're talking about the only thing I think it's different. At the age
of 23, you could probably go 6 rounds.
So okay, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think I don't think I'm performing, but I don't think I'm performing. I think I'm better now than I was then. But there is
you're not going 6 rounds though.
Yeah, that's the thing. There is a thing when you were younger. It's the sex drive is just I can never get enough. Exactly. Whereas now you're you can have amazing sex and be all right, I don't need to fuck again in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's not happening now. So obviously back then, the thing is you're fantasizing about a version of
a different version of you.
Yeah, right, exactly. Of a person that doesn't exist anymore. So if you're fantasizing about
that's
a
deep,
person,
Terrence. That's deep right there.
Yeah, you're fantasizing because that's essentially what it is, right? So we look at something like this show, or whatever. She's fantasizing about the past. She doesn't know if that guy can even do the same things he used to do.
So I think too many people like they want like I don't know they want everything that they want everything and more, right? Like she has a great life, she has a husband who loves her, she has kids, he's great husband, everything's good. Like even if maybe the sex isn't good, then you have to talk about that. Like you can't have this flawless life that everything is
5 minutes if they just have a conversation.
I think people like it's almost like people always want to like look for something wrong, whereas like sometimes things are actually maybe just really good and you can just be happy that way. But you know what I was thinking of this question that I asked you myself, and I think there are a few for sure, because there was one chick I remember who when we were together, she was like, "You're spoiling me for all of the guys." She was like, "How am I supposed to?"
Oh no, you got to do that though.
But that's the thing, because
you got to do that. I don't know. You got to leave a legacy.
But here's the thing. I don't know how deep we're gonna go on this, but I know for me at least, my ratio of how often I've gone down on a woman to the ratio of how often they've gone down on me is like literally 100 to 1. Like I go down on girls so much more than I get head, because I just don't care. Head to me is whatever. And that in itself like is a spoiling thing, right? Like if you're just always making girls come, it's like, well,
I guess they consider you a giver or a pleaser type.
Yeah, but it's just I enjoy it is what it is. Like I enjoy it more in a sense. So I don't know.
I could understand.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
Down here, you should try it.
It's a blast. I remember I was talking. I remember like
what's that clown?
Oh, Pennywise.
Yeah, Pennywise.
Yeah. You know what's so crazy? I just watched that movie this week. I just watched the movie this week. The first I've never watched it before. The one that just came out.
If you can imagine Joe between a girl's legs, so come out. Hey,
don't you? What's wrong with you? You're a psychopath. I'm editing that out because you're just something's wrong with you. Speaking of which, by the way, I was thinking about reading that book. The book is 1,100 pages. I was like, fucking hell, man. Because apparently
Stephen like King should
he's insane,
not do that.
But because apparently I don't know if you've seen both movies.
I saw the 2 new ones. No, there's a part 2 of the new one, right?
Yeah, one came out in 2017. The one you talk about, the sewer, and then there's a second one that came out like in 2019.
No, I didn't see the 2019 one.
So the 2019 one is 27 years after what happened in the first one. He comes back, and they're all adults, right? And I was like, I wonder why they don't do a third one. And it was like, that the book is actually consists of both stories. What happens, and then 27 years later. And I was like, in one book he did this, and so that's why it's so fucking long. But
damn.
Anyway, enough of that. But I do think there are. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So like this is, I think you met this girl at one point. She used to work with us at Toys R Us actually. But we were talking whenever, and we've been talking for like a few days, and we'd gone out, and we were hanging out, and like we went out on this date, and like we spent like hours together, or whatever. And right before we like said goodbye, she mentioned like she was a virgin. And she was already like 23 at the time. And I was like, really? She was like, yeah. And I was like, it's crazy. I was like, sex is great. And I was like, you should try it, And that's what reminded me of that. So she was like, oh no, I've heard, but
I've heard.
You can't be a virgin. I mean, she was saving herself.
No, shout outs to the people that are.
I don't. No.
Do that.
You shouldn't do it. It's a bad idea. Don't do it.
No,
it's a bad idea. You need to know if you're sexually compatible with somebody, and if you're not, then that's not going to lead to a divorce. If one person is sexually frustrated, regardless of the person, that is a problem.
The people that are able to do it,
I respect it, but it's a bad decision. So don't do it.
Able to.
It's not even not being able to. I think is a fundamentally bad idea, and it's a puritanical way of thinking. It's this religious bullshit that we put in people's heads. Not to offend everyone who's religious in the world, but
I don't think it's fair to do that.
But but listen, it is like, it's this thing of like, you're not supposed to have sex with anyone that we put. This is why women, like people call that slut shaming. Like women aren't supposed to have sex with people. Right? It's not okay.
Look,
it's not good that we put that in people's heads. And hold on a second. This not having sex before marriage is just not a good idea, man. It's just like moving in with somebody. Like these things are good to understand if you and this other person really are compatible. I thought sex, like you should have sex with someone before you marry them. If you really don't want to, whatever decision you want to make. But my suggestion is, have sex with someone before you get married. Understand your compatibility sexually. That's a big part of a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, look,
You talk to people before you get married, don't you? Because and it means you're compatible, right? There's multiple levels of compatibility. There's living, there's just communication, and then there's like sex. So these are things you need to know. And if you, like I said, I don't want to like put anyone down for doing it. I just think I would highly suggest you don't do that.
Even though you're not putting no one down.
Not putting them down. It's just a bad idea. I mean, what can I say?
It's like I'm not judging you, but
you're terrible.
You shouldn't do it.
I'm not judging you, but you're an awful human being. No.
Yeah.
All right, Terrence, I think that brings us back to the end of the show. I do have a new segment that I think I'm going to try to pull out next week. So that's a little teaser for everybody.
Okay.
And of course, we always end our show with a hypothetical. Ready for it?
Let's go.
Okay, let's say there was someone you knew. You know, you
know people.
You know people, or Corey knows people. So let's say someone maybe you both know, one of you knows. Anyway, they take you out for dinner, you and Corey. It's a couples thing, right? This couple and you two.
Oh no, and then they think we're attractive.
No, it's not going that way. It's not going that way, actually. That's a whole separate. Maybe in a future episode. That'll be at the future episode, maybe. No, but let's say they're like, listen, we really like both you guys. We think you're both attractive people. You seem to have really good heads and shoulders. Here's the thing: we can't have kids. We would love either one of you. Would you be willing to donate either your eggs or your sperm so you could help us make a baby? Ooh. Would you guys? I mean, I guess only you can answer for you, but would you entertain that and be like, well, maybe? Or would you be like, because it is technically one of your kids is going to be out there.
I don't know about that. I could.
It's crazy. It's a crazy question right
there. How much they offering?
Huh?
How much they offering? I'm doing this off of strength.
Let's say they just say, can you do us this favor?
Off the strength? I ain't doing that off the strength.
What if they say $5K?
Still ain't gonna need to up that.
$5K is not much.
Nah, man, you gonna have to up that.
Okay, $20K.
Still.
That's it. Okay, so you wouldn't do it.
Okay, no,
so you need big money for that.
Yeah.
You think Corey would be similar? She'd be like,
Yeah, we got liquid gold over here. You can't just
You know what's funny, man? You know how like obviously you can donate sperm. Women can donate their eggs, and it's actually super fucking valuable. You can make like 30 grand off of that.
That's what I'm saying. It's liquid gold over here.
But in order to do it, it's insane. Like men, it's not hard at all to donate sperm, but for women to donate eggs, there's a whole list of things you need to do, and it's not easy, man. Like you really need to do shit. So I wonder if I would do this. Like I don't want kids.
I was about to say the difference is you don't want kids.
But at the same time, then that would be not that it would be I'd be responsible for it at all. I wouldn't, it's their kid. But it's like it'd be weird then to put a kid out there.
It'd be like She Hate Me. You'd be the white version of She Hate Me.
I told you I wrote my own screenplay that was based off of I pitched you an idea years ago. You told me about She Hate Me, and I was like, this is similar, but not at all what this movie's like.
Yeah,
it's just
I love that. I think you should go with it. I think you should go through with it.
Sure. I wrote a full screenplay about that a couple years ago.
I think you should pitch it.
I need to. It's much more serious though. It's not like a comedy like She Hate Me.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think it would be dope. I think you should pitch it.
I wrote the whole thing in like 2 weeks. I actually wrote it because I've had this idea for years, since we were Toys R Us for years. Yeah. And back in 2017, I finally just pounded it out. But you know what it is? It definitely needs some drafts because I haven't drafted it all, so it's probably not very good. But if you see that movie in theaters one day, ladies and gentlemen, you'll know.
We could do the Netflix version or something.
Netflix would probably buy it.
Netflix would probably buy it for sure. Look, Sex Life is selling. Oh, Joe, you could be the male version of it.
The male version of what, Sex Life?
Yeah.
I don't want to be. It's just hate. It's just a lot of hate for me.
It's just hate.
It's a lot of hate. But that's it for me, Terrence. You got anything?
No, man. No. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. Need I say more?